the modern Renaissance. The secret of nature's omnipotent power is in her unity. In all her manifestations, she says to man, I am a balanced, two-way, reciprocating unit. Emulate my balanced, two-way actions, and your works will endure forever. Otherwise, I shall destroy them as I shall destroy all unbalance. Man's philosophy is full of epigrams such as, in unity there is strength, united we stand, divided we fall. But they have been but words of no meaning, for man is only beginning to comprehend the meaning and practice of unity. Nature is the one teacher. There is no other. As we learn to comprehend and obey nature, we also learn how to command her. Until then, we are the slaves of our ignorance, punishing ourselves by our unbalanced practices and wasting our energies in the founding of institutions which cannot possibly endure the censorship of nature. Civilization has 5 great elements: art, religion, government, science, and industry. Of these 5, art alone is enduring, because its expressions in sculpture, architecture, music, painting, and literature, to say nothing of the dance and the drama, are based upon the balanced rhythms of nature. Except for their art forms, whole civilizations passed into oblivion. Art, the most important and most neglected of the elements, is today the only gauge of world culture, for it alone has balance. All else passes. Art alone endures. As government, industry, religion, and science find balance, they also will become gauges of world culture. Art which is unbalanced and ugly will not endure. It is self-destructive. World religion is dangerously unbalanced because the multiple founders of its many forms, creeds, doctrines, and rituals have conceived so many impossible gods in their search for the one that human reason has been rising in rebellion for years. The new hope for religion is through a greater comprehension of nature, which scientific research is rapidly making possible. It is only through such a comprehension that the many religions will become unified, and the now separated warring religious groups will tear down their many dividing walls and find their basic oneness in a greater comprehension of the nature of God. Governments have absurd an authority they did not possess, even to claiming divine rights. Their unbalance bred a corroding corruption which quickly destroyed them. Government is still the most unstable and corrupt of all the elements, but curiously enough is seeking motes in industry's eyes, forgetful of its own beams. Nevertheless, all governments are hysterically trying to find the key to the mutual good of the whole, even though that whole is limited to their own citizens. New experiments in group living are still taking place, just as they did eons ago. We criticize them severely, forgetful of the fact that they are but nature's reactions to the imperfections of the forms of government from which they sprang. Surely our monarchies and republics cannot claim freedom from gross error. The many recurrent civil wars, revolutions, and labor troubles indicate the unbalance of extremely faulty systems. All governments are badly unbalanced. What matters is when one is more or less so. What matter if there are many errors in the readjustment which nature is forcing upon every unbalanced government in an attempt to unify the people of this whole world? That is what nature is surely doing, and feeble man must obey whether he will or no. One world government is on the way, and the many transformations which are taking place are inevitably leading to unity. The greater minds and the more balanced governments will lead the way, and weaker ones must follow as mass culture rises. Certain it is, however, that the days of world empire building by the black thread thought of governmental aggression must end, and the world which has become strong by the power of might must return its booty to the power of right, or else shed more blood for dollars. Certain it is, too, that the days of huge armaments for the protection of just people are numbered. Whether we realize it or not, the peoples of the whole world are all seeking freedom and happiness, group for group and nation for nation, but all are filled with their own group grievances against mutual injustice, hence the hate and hence the armament. The present world turmoil is merely the hysteria of readjustment. Those groups which might desire to give justice and demand it need no argument. No, those groups which might desire to give justice and demand it need no armaments. The power of right is conquering through the force of the world thought of good. This world thought is permeating the masses, and the mass educational process now in world vogue will replace international hate-breeding fears with a desire for international justice. The time is near when no government of the world will be strong enough to command its armies to attack a right-thinking neighbor. Science has made greater strides in the last generation than during all previous history. It is through science that a new comprehension of the cosmos is possible, but it is also through science that civilization can be destroyed. Industry and science are wedded for constructive purposes, while government and science are wedded for destructive purposes. When religion and science wed, mankind will be illumined with new knowing. Industry is farther on the road to the balance which ensures stability than either of the other elements, save art. Industry is fast throwing its jungle philosophy overboard, hook, line, and sinker, and replacing self-interest with nature's principle of mutual interchange for the good of all mankind. Industry and religion are mating. They are keeping company 7 days a week instead of the 1 day of former years. In its new practice of ethics, which is following the golden thread of good, industry will become the greatest civilizing power we have yet known of, art not accepted. The world of industry speaks the same language. It has but one desire, that of unifying international industry for the purpose of furthering the mutual interchange of those commodities which give the people of the world their means of self-expression through creative work. Industry is internationally minded, and that mind condition develops the best that is in men. World culture takes on an ascendancy through internationally minded men. While governments have built empires through conquests of other nations by war, industry has conquered nations by peaceful means of mutual service. By observing God's law of rhythmic balanced interchange, nations have mutually given themselves to each other instead of being taken by the power of might. Great mutual corporations such as International Harvester, Standard Oil, General Electric, Westinghouse, International Business Machines, and many others have been given whatever they desired of foreign territories, being received with open arms of welcome. Through such peaceful plans of conquest by industry, the future empires of interchange of material goods will be built. And such empires will last, for they are to be founded upon the rock of universal law, instead of upon the sands of opposition to universal law. Because of this growth of industry along ethical lines, its power will multiply as the seed multiplies. It is strangely coincident that American industry is taking over the golden thread code of ethical practice, while China is taking over the methods of America to